Hi, welcome to Jason's Tasty Cooking. Tomorrow I am going to make chicken on a stick. So I want to prepare my meat ahead of time. So I'm going to cut up my chicken. I have it slightly frozen, and I do that because I like to cut with stiff chicken. So I'm going to cut this up into thin strips. I'm going to put it in my bowl, let it marinate overnight, and then I will put it on some sticks and put it in the oven. Or maybe I'll grill it outside. I'm not sure yet. But for now, we are just going to cut our chicken into strips here and get it ready for marinating. Okay. There we go. Throw that in. I think I cut all the way through. Oh yeah, I did. And you can see chicken is frozen. Makes it so much easier to cut into thin strips when it's slightly frozen. Not solid frozen, but slightly. So I'm just gonna cut some strips here. And I'm actually cutting 2 chicken breasts. Okay, so that's all we need. And since I am handling raw chicken, or raw meat for that matter, we need to wash our hands before we touch anything else in the kitchen so we don't contaminate and get other people sick or get ourselves sick when we're moving around the kitchen later. So make sure you wash with soap and water. And you're probably wondering, why didn't you just use one hand to pour the sauce in and the other hand to mix? It's because I did not prep. I should have opened this lid ahead of time. Then I wouldn't have had to wash my hands to do this and then have to wash them again. But that's my mistake. Actually, before I put this on, I want to put some spices in here. Okay, I have a New Mexican green chili spice, and I actually forgot some pink sea salt and some pepper. So let me pour some of this in, and then we'll put in our spices. And being that we're using a store-bought sauce, we know it's going to come with salt already in it. So we don't want to add too much sea salt. Otherwise, we're going to be drinking a lot of water after this cooks. And we don't want to do that. And then, of course, this spice here, this chili sauce has a spice. So we're just going to sprinkle just a little bit. And if you really want extra spice, you can always use some cayenne pepper and put it in here. So we'll just mix this up. Make sure it's all nice and mixed. And then we will put the lid on and put it in the fridge overnight. That way tomorrow it'll be fully thawed and sauce will soak in somewhat into our chicken. And then we can just put it on the stick and cook it up. Oof, it's gonna be delicious. All right, there we go. I'm gonna use some baby potatoes. I'm gonna cook it with baby potatoes. It'll be my starch, or one of my starches for this meal. And I have two options. One will be baby potatoes. The other option will be chicken on a stick with rice. And if you're wondering, okay, what if you have too many leftovers? Well, we could turn the potatoes and the rice and the side of veggies that we're gonna cook. We could put it in a blender and make soup out of it. And then we just add a little extra spice for the soup, some extra water, and now we have a whole nother meal to eat from it. That's gonna be pretty delicious. Okay, so, and that will be tomorrow. But for you, since you're watching this video, it'll be in a few minutes. Okay, so we got that all nice and mixed. Now, I'm just gonna put the lid on, throw it in the fridge, and let it sit for a while. Okay, so we're back. We have our chicken strips. They have been marinating all night long. I have some potatoes here. I'm gonna get these ready. So I got a pot on the stove, boiling water. I'm gonna put these in. I'm gonna cook them to where they're almost done. Then I'm gonna drain the water out. We are gonna put them on our skewers, stick them in, put a little oil and herbs on top, and we will cook them right next to our chicken on a stick in the oven. And the reason I'm using the oven right now instead of the grill is because it is pretty cold outside, and I just don't want to be out in the cold. So let's get started with our potatoes in the stovetop. Get these boiling anyway. Okay, water's not quite boiling yet, but it is hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in. And they're gonna cook for about 5 to 10 minutes after it reaches boiling point. So you just gotta keep an eye on and see when they actually start boiling. And then just check on them about 5 minutes with a toothpick or a fork and just see if it's slightly soft. Once it starts turning slightly soft, we know it's time to pull them off. And then we will put them on the skewers. So we'll wait for this, and then we will get our meat ready in the meantime. Back at the counter, got my flat pan here. I'm gonna put some foil down so that it's much easier to clean up. So I will just lay a layer here, just like that. And then, because we're doing chicken on a stick inside, we wanna make sure our skewers stay off the surface. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 2 strips of foil, one on each end, to elevate our sticks. So I just need some small pieces. Yeah, I'm just gonna crumble these up and set them down. Okay, check our distance. Okay, so they're gonna sit like this. And the good thing about foil is you can bend it however you want to make it work for you. So that's exactly what we need. All right. So we're just gonna put these on all these skewers until we have no meat left. And we're just gonna zigzag it back and forth. Just like this. Back and forth. Okay. We'll fill each skewer up a little ways. Now you can also, if you have your potatoes ready, you can also alternate between potato and chicken, because we are pre-cooking our potatoes so that our meat doesn't burn before our potatoes are ready in the oven. That is the whole point of the pre-cook of the potatoes. I think I could probably put one more on here. Okay. So I'm gonna do this until all the meat is done. just like that. Gonna make sure they're spaced out a little bit. And we'll just set it right in there, like that. I've got the skewers all done now. I actually have 3.5 of these. Now I just have to wait for the potatoes to get done. I'm going to use my extra sauce. I'm going to pour over the top of these. And one thing I forgot to tell you about the potatoes is make sure you cook with the lid off of the pan. Otherwise you're going to get foam from the starch and the pot is going to boil over. So we have our lid off right now. All right, we have this. Now, do we like spice or do we not like spice? Here in New Mexico, spice is life, of course. So, even though I have teriyaki on here, I want to put some kind of unsalted spice on top of this. Maybe some pepper, cayenne pepper. So let's see what we have. Okay, freshly ground black pepper and some cayenne pepper. So I am gonna do a little bit of cayenne pepper on 2 of these. There we go. Just a little bit, just enough for flavor. We're going to use black pepper on the other 2. Okay, perfect. Now, let's wait for our potatoes. Our potatoes have been boiling for about 6-7 minutes. I'm going to scoop one up. We're going to check it with a toothpick. And what we're looking for is whether it's soft all the way through. We want it to start out soft and be a little firm in the center because the oven is going to finish cooking those. And this is exactly how we want them. There's different sizes, so it goes in about that far, and then it starts getting a little tougher. So that is about halfway through or thereabout. I'll turn the oven off. We'll take these potatoes over to our counter and we'll stick them on a stick. Now, it might be too hot for you to handle, so you can always drain the water and replace it with cold water. That way you can reach in with your bare hands to put these on the sticks. So we'll just go ahead and go through all of these. Gonna put them on these sticks here. And we'll do this until all of our potatoes are on here. You want to leave some space at both ends. That way it sits right up here next to our meat, just like that. And we'll go ahead and do the rest. I have the oven on. It's set to 350 degrees. We're going to pour some oil over the top of these potatoes, and then we'll put some spices on top. I'm using extra virgin olive oil for this. I'm just gonna pour a nice thin layer over the top, just enough to get our spices to stick to it. I'm going to use some paprika along with a oregano mix. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit here, and we'll just go right over the top. And so this has oregano and garlic in it. We'll just sprinkle some of that in. There we go. Now we're ready to throw it in the oven. That's going to cook for about 30-40 minutes. We're going to check it in about 30 minutes to make sure the chicken is pretty close to being done. And what we want is the chicken should be golden brown on the outside, but most important, the inside temperature, even though it's a really thin strip, should be about 160, 180 degrees. I'll check back in just a little bit. Listen to it sizzle. Everything is cooking absolutely perfect. All right, let's check on our chicken. Let's see here. Ooh, look at that. That's looking pretty good. Let's grab a toothpick. Here we go. Here's our toothpick right there. And let's get this going. Ooh, I don't know. Is it this angle? That angle is probably a little better. So I'm going to stick this in. It's going to be nice and soft going into these potatoes. Oh yeah. Very soft into these. And then we're going to check our chicken here. Now the easiest way to check our chicken is with a thermometer here. So I'm just going to find a piece here. Just going to stick it in there. Going to look at what the temperature is. And it might be pretty hard to read because this is chicken on a stick. Oh yeah, it's going up pretty fast. Okay, so chicken is done. So that is all done there. Now you could eat it like this, or you might want to make it with rice and some veggies, or just veggies on the side, being that this is just starch and meat, unless that is your diet. Here is the chicken and potatoes. The meat here comes apart, very tender on the inside. You can see that right there. The potatoes, I'm just gonna squish this one a little bit. Comes right apart. The center of it is nice and soft. And that's how we want our potato cooked. So that is quite delicious. Now you can add some vegetables to this and make it a full meal. And if you have leftovers, especially with your rice or vegetables, you can put all this in a blender, blend it up really fine, add some water to it, and turn it into soup. Now if you do that, you're gonna have to add some salt and probably a little pepper, but definitely some salt to it, because the blending process, the soup itself, because you're adding water to it, it's not going to taste very flavorful, so you'll definitely have to add some flavor. But yeah, this meat here is really good. Just have to make sure we don't overcook or undercook. But there's definitely some forgiveness. You could cook it maybe 10 minutes longer than you need to, and it's not going to dry out. If you forget about it and it cooks, 30 or 40 minutes, you're definitely going to have dried out chicken. But the potatoes would be still be tender. So you'd still have some food to eat. So hopefully you like this meal. Action. Okay, we have our chicken here. It's cooled down a little bit so I can touch it now. Gonna go ahead and take this off of the tray here. Let's see here. And we'll see how it came out. I'm gonna try a couple potatoes here. Okay, here it is. The meat. Let me just go ahead and hold this up. Just falls apart. Nice and tender. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Ooh, this is a spicy one. This is cayenne pepper. I can certainly taste it. That is good. We have a potato here. Just gonna smash it a little bit. Squishes quite easily. We can tell the center is cooked and done. Oh yeah, the skin of the potato slightly crispy from the cooking, and the potato inside is nice and tender. That is exactly how we want our food. My goodness, I want to eat all this right now. It's like so good. Yeah, so that is absolutely delicious. Yep, I'm giving this 2 thumbs up. Oh yeah, my goodness. Maybe it's because I'm hungry. Okay. So, thing about cooking, there is no exact recipe for it. Only thing you have to be careful about is undercooking your chicken or cooking it too long. If you cook it too long, it's going to be dry. If you don't cook it long enough, it's going to be raw in the center and you have a chance of getting sick. The potatoes, if you don't cook them long enough, they're going to be a little hard in the center, but they're still edible. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much to worry about in this meal other than flavor. You never want to put too much salt on your food because you can never take away the salt. You can always add salt to it, but you can't take it away. So you got to be careful on that point. But yes, 2 thumbs up. If you like this, like the video, just give me a thumbs up also. Have a great day.